foods women reach for when they're exhausted, stressed, or trying to feel better in midlife, like chocolate, wine, spicy foods, or worse, skipping meals entirely, are quietly adding fuel to the exact systems that trigger hot flashes. Not because of willpower, because of biology. And once you understand the connection, you can start using food as a tool instead. I'm Erica Christine, and this is the Midlife Health Detective series. In the last video, we mapped the 7 drivers that stack together to influence hot flashes: your blood sugar, gut health, inflammation, and more. Today, we're going straight into nutrition: 5 eating patterns that make those triggers even worse and what to do instead. This isn't about a meal plan, it's about understanding how food is either adding to your load or reducing it. Here are the 5 most common eating mistakes I see in midlife women that quietly intensify hot flashes. You may be doing one of these without even realizing it, and that's not failure, it's information. Reaching for sugar or refined carbs under stress. Using alcohol to unwind, especially at nighttime. Skipping meals, most notably breakfast. Ignoring how your gut reacts to certain foods, and eating heavily or eating nothing before bedtime. Mistake number 1: sugar and refined carbs as stress relief. When you eat a cookie or crackers or something like chocolate when you're stressed, your blood sugar spikes fast and then crashes. That crash signals to your body to release cortisol, and cortisol is a stress hormone, and elevated cortisol is one of the biggest drivers we tracked in episode 1. That cortisol surge can directly trigger a hot flash or make the next one even more intense. The blood sugar cortisol loop runs quietly in the background of every day, and many women have no idea it's connected to how many hot flashes they're having. The fix is not cutting carbs entirely, it's pairing them. Every time you eat, protein, healthy fats, and fiber. That trio slows down glucose, and steady glucose, steadier cortisol, fewer triggers. Mistake number 2: wine to unwind. This one's hard to hear because it feels like a much deserved reward at the end of a long day. But alcohol does 3 things for hot flashes. First, it dilates your blood vessels, which directly lowers your flash threshold. Second, it disrupts deep sleep, which is when your body regulates temperature and cortisol overnight. And third, it spikes blood sugar and then drops it sharply in the second half of the night, which is exactly when so many women are waking up between 2 and 3 a.m. drenched in sweat. So if you do indulge in an alcoholic beverage, keep it to 1 drink with food when you can and not on an empty stomach, and ideally not close to bedtime. But if your hot flashes are frequent and intense, it may be worth experimenting with removing alcohol entirely for 2 to 3 weeks. The difference for some women is significant. And I'm not here to tell you what you can or cannot do. I'm giving you information so you can decide what's best for your body. Okay, on to mistake 3: skipping meals, especially breakfast. When you skip a meal, your blood sugar drops. Your body responds by releasing cortisol to keep you functioning. And that cortisol stays elevated, and elevated cortisol is a direct hot flash trigger throughout the day. Skipping breakfast is particularly disruptive because cortisol is naturally the highest in the morning. It needs to be to wake us up. If you don't blunt that curve, cortisol stays high mid-morning, stressing your nervous system before the day even starts. So for many women, the target is to eat every 3 to 5 hours. And you don't need to be perfect about it. Just don't go long stretches without food. Your nervous system notices every time you do. And at the same time, I know many women are attempting to do intermittent fasting, 1 meal a day, or fasting for 24, 36, or 72 hours. Obviously, you're not going to embrace eating every 3 to 5 hours, but I would also give you something to pause and think about, which is if your cortisol pattern is dysregulated or very much out of control, you may want to consider pausing fasting until your cortisol pattern falls back into where it should be. Mistake number 4: we ignore what our guts are telling us. Your gut and your hormones are in constant communication. The gut microbiome helps regulate estrogen metabolism, inflammation levels, and the nervous system signals that influence those hot flashes. So, when you're eating something that your gut reacts to, it could be a food sensitivity, too much processed food, or foods with inflammatory fats. Gut irritation raises that systemic inflammation and your cortisol, and both are hot flash drivers. So pay attention to things like bloating, gas, sluggish digestion after meals. These are signals. If your gut is reacting, your hot flash load is likely to be bigger than it needs to be. Mistake number 5, what you do or don't do before bed. Two patterns that can cause overnight hot flashes or waking up in the middle of the night. Sometimes we call them night sweats. The first is eating a large, heavy, inflammatory meal late. So you can think of eating processed carbs, fried foods, and or having alcohol with a big dinner. This is going to spike sugar before sleep, and then subsequently that crash is going to happen in the middle of the night, triggering cortisol to put your body on high alert, which drives night sweats. The second is not eating anything for hours before going to bed with unstable blood sugar. For some women, a small amount of protein and fat in the evening, like a handful of nuts or a small piece of salmon, keeps blood sugar steadier throughout the night. And my personal hack, I always have a little bit of butter before going to bed. It helps soothe that cortisol curve and it helps me sleep through the night. Other women find that having a small snack of protein, fats, and fiber before bed is what works for them to sleep through the night. Overnight flashes and waking up drenched are often blood sugar instability signals, not just hormone events. That distinctive matters because it gives you leverage and it gives you something to influence. So, what should you be eating at this stage of life? Let's take a look at what the research suggests. Protein at every meal: eggs, fish, legumes if you can tolerate them, quality meats to anchor blood sugar and support muscle. Magnesium rich foods. These are your leafy greens. Pumpkin seeds are a great resource. Almonds to support your nervous system and help you sleep. And antioxidants. So, an easy way to think about this is the colorful foods: your berries, your leafy greens, the reds, the oranges, the purples, but also avocado oil, fatty fish, anything that's going to help reduce oxidative stress and inflammation. And fermented foods and a variety of colorful plants so that you not only have the probiotics but prebiotics to support a healthy gut microbiome. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention phytoestrogens. There is evidence that supports eating soy products like edamame, tempeh, and flaxseed are mild estrogen modulating effect for some women. Start small, see how your body responds. And I don't want you to think of these as superfoods. It's foods that have the nutrients that support the systems that are most likely going to be stressed and set you up for hot flashes. The goal isn't perfection, it's just reducing the inputs that are already adding to the load. Here's where to start for this week. Pick one mistake from today's list that resonates with you, just one. Add more protein to your breakfast, skip the wine for 2 weeks, stop skipping breakfast or lunch together, and just notice if anything shifts for you. Remember, this isn't about a meal plan, it's not about following a diet. You're running an experiment on yourself. That's what a health detective does. Episode 3 is coming up, and we're going to talk about supplements: which ones help, which ones hurt, and which are a waste of money when it comes to managing hot flashes in midlife. If you haven't seen episode 1 on the 7 drivers, that link is below. It gives you the map of everything that we're building here. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next, and I'll see you in the next one.